Hi, and thanks for watching our video. This video describes the discovery process for the RN virtual appliance for MyITAssessment. So the way our discovery process works is a multi-stage process. The first thing you give us is a scope. You're going to define the scope by adding in your IP subnets. IP subnets can be either pulled from a routing table, if you have an existing router, or you can enter them manually. We're not going to scan anything outside of this scope. We don't want to go anywhere where you don't want us to go. When you add a scope, if you do it manually, you'll do it using dotted decimal format with a mask. We currently don't allow masks smaller than a /16 because that introduces too many hosts for a single discovery process. Each subnet that you enter will become a separate process. We have a policer on there to limit it to no more than 5 discoveries at a time within your environment. So the first thing we're going to do is an Icmp Ping. So the RN virtual appliance is going to go out to every IP address that you have and do a ping. If during that ping it gets a response, it's then going to do an additional step, which is to check for open ports. Now we check for several different open ports. Primarily we check for TCP ports 80, TCP port 445 and 135. This is for Windows devices. We're also going to do a UDP ping, if I can spell it, for port 161, which is SNMP. These are the pings that we're going to do to see if your devices are live and listening on those ports. We're not going to bother them if they're not. Okay? So only devices that respond to one of these ports will we then go back to and do any type of inventory on. This process continues until all of the subnets that you initially select are done. At that point, we're going to do an inventory of those devices, which we'll talk about in the next video. Based on that inventory, we may actually show you some additional subnets up here that you didn't initially include that you may want to include. And at that point, you'll be able to select those additional devices and add them to a second round of discovery. Discovery is typically an iterative process, happens 1 or 2 times.